Welcome to Dynamic Monetization, the new Sony PlayStation scam, where player passion gets translated into recurring revenue opportunity. You wanted escapism, Sony saw a wallet. Sony CFO Lin Tao goes on the 2025 Q3 earnings call and says the quiet part out loud: memory costs are rising, so the plan is to monetize the installed base. That phrase is cold enough to preserve a mummy. You are not a customer in that sentence. You are livestock with a login. Just a heads up, every verbal stumble and awkward pause in this video is 100% organic, human-made chaos. When a company swaps players for installed base, entertainment stops being the product. You become the product. The console becomes the funnel. Your free time becomes the raw material. If Sony treats your living room like an oil field, don't act shocked when the DualSense starts vibrating every time your bank app opens, like it's trying to sniff out peak engagement. Your controller will purr like a cat, except the tuna is fees. Now, here's the part that makes people foam at the mouth online. Late 2025 rolls around, and PS5 users start noticing something that should not exist in a sane hobby: different prices for different people on the same PlayStation Store listings. Same game, same day, 2 accounts, 2 price tags. Push Square reported the chatter in November 2025. Vice covered it too, because nothing screams future of gaming like a storefront doing Uber surge pricing cosplay. Notebook Check even summarized the complaints: sale prices varying by account, families comparing carts, confusion everywhere. Sony didn't walk onto a stage and announce, "Hello, we're testing personalized pricing." That would be honest, and honesty does not scale. Instead, you get exclusive discount for you, like the store is flirting, except the flirting sometimes involves charging your friend less for the exact same thing. Romantic. Nothing says affection like algorithmic favoritism. And yes, there's the predictable defense squad. The corporate bodyguards show up in comment sections like they're being paid in Sony reward points. Games are expensive to make. True, inflation exists. Also true. Stop being entitled. Buddy, I'm not entitled, I'm just allergic to getting fleeced, while someone calls it innovation. Let's put the memory cost excuse under a flashlight. Lin Tao's line, as reported by outlets summarizing the call, is that Sony wants to minimize the impact of rising PS5 memory costs by leaning harder on software and network services revenue, aka squeezing the people who already own the box. That's not a survival tactic, that's a strategy meeting where the whiteboard says, how do we charge the same crowd twice without them noticing? Sony has sold many PS5s. It's an installed base that could qualify as a small nation with better load times. Blaming RAM prices for a new monetization push is like a billionaire asking you to Venmo $5 because premium gas went up. The sentence might be technically coherent. The vibe is pure insult. Here's the "you ves them" angle, because it's the only way to keep this straight. You work your week. You come home. You want to boot up a game and feel your brain turn into warm soup for a few hours. Them, the spreadsheet gladiators, want to know whether your soup can be monetized in 14 different tiers. You want flow. They want friction with a price tag. This is not paranoia born from nothing. We watched Sony step on a rake in May 2024 with Helldivers 2. They announced that PC players would need to link a PlayStation Network account months after launch. The backlash was immediate and savage, and Steam reviews went nuclear. Sony reversed the plan shortly after, and the industry press documented the climb down. Polygon later treated it like a historical event with a cape joke, because gamers cope through memes, the way sailors cope through rum. So, what lesson did Sony learn? Not stop treating players like metrics. The lesson looks more like don't do it all at once where everyone can see. Big, loud screw-ups cause headlines. Tiny, quiet screw-ups become policy. That's why the 2025 dynamic pricing accusations matter. They're not just a weird glitch. They're the direction of travel. A storefront that can show different numbers to different people is a storefront that can test your pain threshold in real time. It's the casino tactic: measure the player, adjust the odds, keep the lights bright. And if you think this stays contained to discounts, I've got a bridge made of pre-order bonuses to sell you. Today it's exclusive discount for you. Tomorrow it's exclusive price for you. And the exclusivity is that you pay more. Because you've shown you'll tolerate it. Your loyalty becomes your punishment. Your hours played become your surcharge. Your platinum trophies become a confession. The funniest part is how the language always shows the scam. Personalized offers. Dynamic bundles. Value optimization. It's corporate poetry written by a vampire with an MBA. Notice how none of it says lower prices for everyone. Notice how none of it says transparent and consistent. Consistency is bad for experiments. Transparency is bad for extraction. Also, let's not ignore the broader mood. In the UK, a major opt-out collective claim has been pushing through the Competition Appeal Tribunal, alleging Sony abused its position and overcharged for digital games and add-ons on the PlayStation Store. Trial dates and eligibility windows have been in the news in early 2026. Even if you don't follow legal drama, the existence of a giant lawsuit in the background changes the vibe. It's hard to preach trust the store, while a courtroom asks whether the store has been charging too much for years. Now, will Sony call any of this dynamic pricing? Probably not. Brands don't adopt villain labels voluntarily. They'll call it A/B testing. They'll call it regional adjustments. They'll call it promotions tailored to your interests. Meanwhile, PS Prices has been tracking what looks like A/B price testing across regions and titles, and users on Reddit have been swapping screenshots like they're trading baseball cards made of despair. Here's a simple thought experiment. Imagine you walk into a grocery store and the milk price changes when the cashier recognizes your face. You'd call the manager. You'd call the news. You'd call it discrimination with extra steps. In games, we're supposed to nod and say live service, baby, like that explains why the card total feels like it has a mood swing. And before someone chirps, just buy physical, sure, if the game exists on disc, if the disc includes the full game, if the update isn't a second download, the size of Nebraska, and if your console doesn't treat the disc like a coaster while it checks online, anyway. Digital won, because it was convenient. Now, convenience is being used as leverage. This is why the slogan for the players feels like a practical joke in 2026. It used to mean, we care about your experience. Now it reads like for the players to pay. It's not even clever. It's just depressing, like a clown car that only carries accountants. The real damage isn't only the money. It's the constant mental tax. Gaming is supposed to be frictionless immersion. You can't sink into a world when the storefront is hovering over your shoulder like a waiter asking if you want to tip for breathing. You can't relax when the buy button feels like it might be a variable rate mortgage. So, what do you do besides scream into the void and make a 30-minute rant video? You do the boring, adult thing that corporations hate. You become unpredictable. You wait for sales. You compare prices. You don't impulse buy because a timer says offer ends soon. You treat deluxe editions like what they usually are, a 30-year tax for a skin, a soundtrack you won't open, and the privilege of feeling slightly embarrassed. Wallet voting sounds dramatic, but it's basically just refusing to be farmed. When Helldivers 2 players revolted, it wasn't because they hated a login screen in isolation. It was because the change landed as a message. We can rewrite the deal after you've paid. Once players believe that every purchase becomes a gamble. Here's the closing punch, because I'm not leaving you with only despair. Sony wants this controversy to vanish. Stop acting like Ticketmaster with a console. Publishers want trust. Stop turning price tags into personality tests. Developers want goodwill. Fight for stable rules, not just prettier trailers. Players want dignity. Remember that installed base is not a compliment, it's a warning label. At the end of the day, nobody is asking for miracles. We're asking for the same game, to cost the same money, for the same people, at the same time. We're asking for ownership to mean something, not license until further notice. We're asking for a hobby that doesn't feel like a permanent shakedown dressed up as a seasonal event. If that makes you toxic, wear it like armor. Toxic is just the word suits use. When the audience refuses to clap while being pickpocketed, let them host the earnings call. You can host the only meeting that matters, the one between you and the purchase button. And when the store starts doing that little dance, exclusive offer, limited time, personalized deal, hit it with the oldest tech in gaming, self-control. Close the tab. Load a game you already own. Spend your weekend having fun instead of financing someone's monetization mix. That's the real power move. That's the cleanest punchline. Sony can have the spreadsheet. You keep your dignity and your $70. One more thing, because the rabbit hole has extra rabbits. Sony already hiked PS5 pricing in various regions before, and now, commentary pieces are openly predicting more hikes, or a PlayStation Plus squeeze. Based on that same February 2026 call logic, avoid hardware pain by extracting more from services. That's the corporate equivalent of skipping leg day and buying a bigger belt. And the funniest, saddest part is how easy it is to imagine the next step. You boot the store. A banner pops up, welcome back, champion. Cute. Then it suggests a bundle crafted for you, which means it watched you hesitate last time and decided to sweeten the trap with a fake discount. It's the digital version of a car salesman who remembers your birthday and still charges you for floor mats. People ask, is it even real? That's the beauty of A/B testing. It's real for some of you, invisible for others, and deniable for everyone. If your account sees a different sale than your friends, you look crazy. If you post screenshots, defenders say Photoshop. If a site reports it, skeptics say clickbait. The system thrives on doubt. Meanwhile, the community reaction is consistent. Users call it unfair. Users call it predatory. Users call it the death of trust. You see that tone across forum threads, Reddit discussions, and comment sections. Under every article that mentions dynamic pricing, near the words PlayStation Store. Nobody wakes up craving a personalized checkout experience. Nobody says, man, I hope the price learns my trauma. Here's the rule Sony should tattoo on every executive desk: games are optional, resentment is sticky. You can't algorithm your way out of bad faith. Once players believe the store is profiling them, every deal becomes suspicious. Every discount becomes a question. Every full price launch becomes a hostage negotiation where the hostage is your sanity. So, if you want the practical playbook, it's simple and petty. Compare prices with friends. Use trackers, screenshot oddities. Report discrepancies to consumer groups. Keep receipts. If a game's price feels like it's doing jazz improvisation, wait it out. The backlog is already a landfill. Let the fear of missing out starve. Because here's the secret punchline Sony hates: your attention is the scarce resource, not their digital copies. They can print infinite licenses. You only get so many weekends. Spend them on games that respect you, not stores that study you.